This episode of Nerdist News is sponsored by Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening game. Patrick Stewart shares new details on Star Trek Picard. Pop culture and science fiction are gonna have a pretty busy couple of years coming up. But one thing fans definitely got on the top of their to-watch list is the upcoming Picard series coming to CBS All Access that will see Sir Patrick Stewart return to the iconic role of Jean-Luc Picard, which he last played in 2002's Star Trek Nemesis. In this age of reboots, remakes, sequels, and nostalgia grabs, the new Picard show seemed like the one returning property that fans were on board with right from the announcement. To be fair, fan hype for this series was brewing back when it was just a bunch of unfounded rumors. And while this year's Comic-Con gave us our best look at the series yet with this cryptic trailer, which left multiple grown men in our office crying, by the way, the greater details of the show remain under wraps other than the broadest story strokes. We know that Picard has retired from Starfleet to his vineyard after commanding the greatest rescue armada in history. We take this to mean the evacuation of Romulus we saw in Prime Spock's memories in 2009 Star Trek film. We also know that Picard has to put together a ragtag team for a mission, and we know the Borg will be involved somehow. But that's really all we know about it. So that's why we're grabbing at any table scraps of information or details we can find. And luckily this week, Sir Patrick Stewart delivered when he opened up to the Examiner Live about his motivations for returning to the character and what the show could cover. As to why Stewart is coming back to his role as Picard, he said, "I don't regard it as going back. In fact, we are definitely moving the series forward, and that's what made the difference for me. It was a very difficult decision." Honestly, it's great to hear that this level of thought is being put into things. This doesn't seem to just be the continuing adventures of Jean-Luc Picard or a season 8 to the next generation, but rather a very specific story that will impact Picard in a major way. Sir Patrick went on to say, "We are looking at a new world with new objectives, problems, and issues that could not have been raised when we were making the next generation, and I found that very exciting. It's very exciting, and people will be surprised and perhaps even shocked." Shocked, you say? Well, sign us up. Now, obviously, this is the benefit of being on a streaming service and not on the late 80s and 90s broadcast television. And while the next generation had its share of shocking moments, and we're looking at you, Conspiracy, aka the episode that gave us all nightmares, seriously, how did this air? But overall, Next Gen was relatively tame. So it will be interesting to see how Star Trek Picard will wrestle with even bigger issues. Plus, storytelling on television has changed a lot since The Next Generation ended. While that Star Trek series wasn't known for much serialized storytelling beyond some two-parters, Deep Space Nine was when the franchise got deeper into story arcs that last seasons long. It sounds like Picard will give audiences the chance to see characters dive into longer plots that develop over seasons of television. And this fits in line with what CBS All Access content head Julie McNamara had to say about the series at the TCAs. "I would say that it is in production, sort of size and scope, probably more similar to Discovery. In terms of the characters and the nature of the storytelling, probably more like Next Generation. But of course, we're a number of years later now, so there are some shifts in the storytelling style, but I think it's a really nice hybrid of the two." While Star Trek Discovery might have taken a bit to find its footing in season 1, one thing the show has done well is juggle character moments and big sweeping special effects action and longer story arcs. So, if that is what is delivered in Picard, the show is definitely in capable hands. Plus, if we needed any more proof that the show is shaping up nicely, in addition to Brent Spiner and Jerry Ryan reprising their roles as Data in 7 of 9, Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis will show up in Picard as Riker and Troy. Seriously, we're hanging on to every table scrap of news because every table scrap of news is getting us more hyped. Hopefully, we'll be hearing more Picard news coming out of New York Comic Con next month, and maybe even an official release date beyond early 2020. But what do you folks think? Are you excited for Picard to premiere, or are you super excited for Picard to premiere? What other Star Trek cast members do you hope make an appearance? And should Jean-Luc Picard have a new catchphrase for this new show beyond "Engage" and "Make it so"? Let's discuss. Thanks again to Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening game for sponsoring today's episode. Prepare to embark on an exciting adventure after Link has been washed ashore on the reimagined Koholint Island. To find his way home, Link must use all of his skills and weapons as he fights his way past Moblins, Octoroks, and even Goombas? Relive the classic story on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Lite systems. Available now.